we were smaller, we would look at companies that we thought were bigger and better. You just have the assumption that if they're bigger, they're better. Let me tell you the secret, they're not. And our people would always say, let's be like them. Let's do what they're doing, okay? Of those 5 companies that I used to admire in 2015, 16, and 17, they're all 4 of them are bankrupt, completely gone. You have to work frantically. Like your success depends on what you're doing today, but at the same time, you need to hold in your mind that it's going to take 5 to 10 years, right? You have to act like success is all about today, but you have to know it's going to do that. And can you hold loosely those things in at the same time? I went on LinkedIn, just set my MacBook down, started making some videos, and what I found out is...
Welcome to the DTC Insider podcast, where online business owners come to find actionable tips and tactics to grow their businesses. Now, here's your host, Brian Roisentul.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the DTC Insider podcast. I'm Brian Roisentul, your host, and today we have a super special guest. I'm talking about Curtis Matsko, the founder and CEO of Portland Leather Goods. He started this brand in a garage with no investors, no plans, and a bunch of leather scraps. And today they've sold over $400 million worth of product, and they are still just getting started. Hey, Curtis, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, before going and diving deep into, business and the exponential growth that you have achieved at Portland Leather Goods, I would love to, first off, thank you for the refreshing content on LinkedIn because, if anyone listening or might not watching this doesn't follow Curtis on LinkedIn, please go and do that. You will do yourself something good. I mean, LinkedIn is a special a place, isn't it? Right? Because it's...
Thank you so much. It's, a year and a half ago, you couldn't find me anywhere on the internet. I didn't allow pictures of me for like 20 years. And I had all these young people we had hired to do, here's social media, here's all this crap. And I'm like, they're young and pretty and they got a lot of caffeine in them. Let's let them do this shit. And then I'm just like bored. Oh, so I went on LinkedIn, just set my MacBook down, started making some videos. And what I found out is, number one thing that I did is I'm 100% me. I tried, maybe years ago to try to be somebody else, but that fucking failed. So being myself is the only thing I'm really good at in this world. So I do that, and that really comes across on LinkedIn. I have great people around me. The next thing is I went through a lot to build where we are, to build this on the way to $1 billion company. And somehow the things that I say, by saying them naturally, get across rather than the rest of the garbage that some people put out on LinkedIn. There are amazing people on LinkedIn. I got to tell you, it's been a great year and a half. I've met some amazing people because of it. So LinkedIn, I'm still a big fan. Even the people who bitch about the algorithm, it's a great thing.
Yeah, most of the guests I have interviewed here, we are on the, over 200 episodes here. I don't know, Neil Goyal, you've met him, recently at an event, and some, many other great people that we probably have in common on LinkedIn. Yeah, what I see is that everyone is mocking about, the way we all talk on LinkedIn, except for you, right? But then we go ahead and do that again, once, like over and over again. And when I watch your videos, it's like, I'm wondering, like, is this guy really that way behind cameras? And probably you just answered that.
How we do those videos is literally, I set this down, my assistant gets behind me, and I click photo booth on my MacBook, and literally it goes 3, 2, 1, and then I just start talking about what's on my mind that particular day. That's it. And she has to catch it, because she doesn't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, because I don't know until it starts.
So now, yes, I would love to ask you about it. Like, I have 1,000 questions, as you can imagine, but, I'll start by a question that I always have whenever I meet someone I consider successful, right? So I talked to hundreds of brands over the years, and many with great products, great intention, focus, yet only a few of them make it.
Yeah.
What do you think is the number one reason, if you had to choose one, they say, this is why we made it?
I would say that the biggest mistake you can make is trying to choose one. I'd say your question itself is the freaking problem, right?
Okay.
It's what mix of things together make somebody in a team, in a culture, in a product do the things you're going to do. And can you evolve as that goes along? The one thing, like, hey, like, no, Brian, you're right. I've been hiding this shit for years now, but now I feel close enough to you in our interview that I can tell you the secret sauce and the one thing. No. It is not a couple things. Number one, you have to work frantically. Like your success depends on what you're doing today. But at the same time, you need to hold in your mind that it's going to take 5 to 10 years, right? You have to act like success is all about today, but you have to know it's going to do that. And can you hold loosely those things in at the same time? Can you hold loosely in, this is a fun environment to work in, and what the hell? You promised you're going to do something. You said you were going to do it. You did not do that. Why not? What did I fail to do to get you to do that? Or are you not the person to do that? Can you hold kindness and responsibility in the same thing? Can you keep in mind at the same time, this product is the greatest product in the world, and we need to always get better, and next year it's going to be better, and the next year it's going to be better, and we have to solve that. You have to hold all of these things in, and you have to go frantically and optimistically into that. You have to move into that shit and say, we're going to get this done. And then you got to get a team on there. You got to coach them up and you got to say, we're going to do this together. Everybody with me. And then you do it. Now, that is a mix. That is a recipe. That isn't a hack.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. And I agree. Yeah, I agree. In fact, I will say that there's no silver bullet. It's a combination of things. And then I go and ask you these questions. So I deserve that. Are you always optimistic about, the way things were going in business? Because it maybe sometimes, I guess, even the most successful people, the most successful companies, sometimes when they are starting out in the infancies, let's say, of the business, they are not that sure. They have a lot of, energy.
Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. I'm going to give you two answers here because shit, nothing's simple in this world. Okay. Number one, I believed I was always confident for the next year, right? Like I knew we could go from 1 million to 2 million or 2 million to 4 or 8 million to 16, or I knew we can go from 16 to 32. I had the evidence. I knew we could do that. I was always optimistic in my mind. Now, I always look for the future. If you talk to people, they'll say that 10 or 20% of that time, I would talk in terms of, but what if, and like, we have to do this. But never in my mind did I think, well, this shit's not going to work. No. I mean, you might have took 3 days over the last 10 years that at 8 o'clock at night, I could have had my freaking doubts. But let's just say 95% of the time, of course it's going to work. Now, did I know we were going to go to 1 billion? No. Did I know we were going to, we'll hit 500 million in sales this year, and we're just expanding. We're doing better in every aspect, and the changes we've made are substantial. I had the confidence. Part of the reason as the leader I had the confidence is everyone else relied on me on having that confidence. They basically said, hey, dumbass, if you're going to be the CEO and the founder and the owner of this company, and we're going to go on this journey with you, can you do one thing? Can you tell us it's all going to fucking work out? Can you please tell us this is going to work out? And I said, I can do that. And I did. And so I always believed. And when I mean always, I mean 95, 98% of the time. Yes.
And I know before we continue talking about your company, I heard you say once, that at one point when things get tough or got tough in the past for your competitors, I believe it was, you let me know, it was 2016, 2017 or something like that. They wanted to do more of what they used to work in the past, but that didn't work anymore. So I guess it's the classic, what got you here won't get you there. So do you feel that from the pandemic, many brands could be in the same what got us here won't get us there situation, and they don't know?
When we were smaller, we would look at companies that we thought were bigger and better. You just have the assumption that if they're bigger, they're better. Let me tell you the secret, they're not. They're just not. That's number one. And our people would always say, let's be like them. Let's do what they're doing, okay? Oh my gosh. I am so glad that we did not. I said, well, I'm kind of unique. Let's do it our own way. And we did. Of those 5 companies that I used to admire in 2015, 16, and 17, they're all 4 of them are bankrupt, completely gone, and the other one is right on the edge of bankrupt. And I've talked to the owners of all of these companies as they went under and said, what went wrong? And they're like, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, everything was working right. And we just kept doing more of that. And they never evolved. They never changed. They never got better. And when you talk to them about what's happening right now, they would talk about 5 or 10 years before. And I'm like, dude, right now means right now. It means the last month and the next 12 months. It does not mean, yeah, you were once in a fancy store or you used to have retail where this used to work. The world changes a little bit faster than that, right? And so you have got to be up on that. Most things in business, and the reason I'm optimistic is I'm not optimistic that I say, I'm going to do this and I do all the steps to achieve that. I'm never optimistic or all in about that. What I'm optimistic about is if I'm here and I want to go here, I will come up with a way to at least getting to that level. Maybe we've come up with a new product or a new angle or a new manufacturer or a new channel or something different. But by the end of the year, we're going to reach my goals. It just won't look exactly like what we thought it was going to. But I believe if you go on that journey, we'll win.
You say you focus on the inputs more than on the outputs. Is that it?
No, absolutely not. I rely on picking up the cues of the journey and figuring shit out and knowing without a doubt that there will be opportunities if we just keep going forward. But what if everyone's always got all the reasons shit's not going to work? Yeah, I get it. Not me. I have people around me sometimes, I used to, that every time I'd say, I got a great idea, let's do this. They'd say, well, let me tell you 10 reasons that shit's not going to work. And I'm like, that's awesome. Thank you for being a very wonderful negative person. Why don't you go work on the other side of the building or in another company? I want to surround myself not with yes people, but damn straight we can do that, people, right? Not, we're going to say yes to every one of your ideas, but we're going to say yes to the concept that we can freaking do this.
What were the first team you had, the first people you surrounded yourself with? What did they look like in the early stages of the company?
They were Portland hipsters. That's what they looked like. I still do the same thing with all of the people that I work with. I get together with people. Number one, do I like them? If I don't want to talk to them on a day-to-day basis, if they're like, well, they're a little weird, but they're doing a good job. When I want to talk to them, I won't call them up. When I need to dig deeper into what they're working on, I'm going to hesitate a little bit, right? Let's sit down for 10 hours. Let's figure this shit out together. I don't really like them that much, so I don't want to. I'll ask somebody else to dig deep into that. If you don't like being with them and talking to them if they're not like your first call when you want to talk to them, something's wrong. Does that make sense? Like you've got to say, boom, I'm sitting here in a room with my CFO. The text message chain we have and the calls we had just yesterday would stagger you about how much we talked yesterday. If it was a CFO I didn't like, which I'm going to tell you, most accountants and CFOs I do not like, I would not have spent that time. We would not have dug deeper. We would not have found the solutions that we did. But I like working. She's awesome. Yay. So I call her up. We figure it out. We work it out.
Different companies, different policies. Different companies, different policies when it comes to hiring team members. What do you look for besides the feeling and everything that you already mentioned? What do you look for in a team member?
I look for a chip on their shoulder, something that's happened in their life that threw a loop at them that didn't break them. Right? I don't want broken people. That's broken people break companies, right? Just like Kanye said, hurt people. Broken people will break your company, right? But people who have a chip on their shoulder say, my world is going to improve and I'm going to be the person to improve it. I am going to take that forward. I can work with that person. That my optimism, all the things I have are going to give them a boost. And then they're going to start getting pattern recognition. And I'm going to start saying, did you see it? You did it. I asked it. You did it. You did it. You did it. You did it. All of a sudden, these bastards get so confident they can do it without me. And then they get even cocky, and then they do even bigger things and better things. And pretty soon I don't have to work with them because they're so damn good. Everybody else in the country wants to hire them but they're not going to go work for somebody else. They're going to stay working for me.
Talking about your team members, how did you meet Mariana? She's like, I think I once commented in one of your posts, like, you are like the DTC Alex and Leila Hormozy. So I think like you two come together at least on LinkedIn, and she seems amazing as well. So how did you guys
She
meet?
is vibrant and energetic. I was spending time in Mexico because we moved our manufacturing there. We now have 1,180 employees in Mexico. And I found a really beautiful house. A former soccer player owned it. And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. But you can't buy a house because I have no one to watch over the house. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know how to pay taxes or bills in Mexico. I don't know how to get in and out of parking lot. I mean, I know nothing, right? So, but I own a big company there. So someone says, hey, we need to get you something. And my friend Fabian said, I think I know the person, right? We had a big party at our house. And I said, your interview is come to the party and hang out and have dinner and see if people like you. And you want to know what I found out? Just funny, charismatic, amazing. And I said, guess what? You're on this train. And she's told people, she's like, I thought you were full of shit. Like, she's like, you told me we're going to do all these grand things and fly around the world and have this amazing time. She's like, I didn't actually believe it. She believes it now. But, but no, she's an integral part of my life. If I go to work and she's not there, I'm depressed all day. I'll go into my office and I'm like, say, what am I going to do? This sucks. The world just isn't quite as fun without a little bit of spark of Mariana in it.
I wanted to tell me what we don't see, of course, on LinkedIn. Like, you work closely. What do you do all day? Besides, Mariana, we can include her in part of the answer, of course. But what does a day in your life look like?
It all starts with my morning routine of getting up and having coffee. Like, literally, that's my morning routine. I get up and I have about 2 hours before anybody else comes. I have coffee. I think about what I'm going to do. I go for a walk. I jump in the pool. It's totally just relaxed. At 8:30, she walks in and she tells me my schedule. That's it. Like, what are we going to do? Do I have this? What are we going to do? She drives me to our big factory. We have the largest leather bag manufacturing in North America. It is huge and beautiful and amazing. We've got a big, beautiful office there. And I run 38 divisions in my company. So I put all of the most important ones near my office. I have a big glass office, and right next to me is my personal branding social media people, the leather people who bring in over 10 million square feet of leather per year, the designers, the graphic artists, the logistics, and the operations. I can see all of them out of my glass office, all of their offices. And if I don't have something on my schedule, I literally just walk into somebody else's office in the middle of their meetings and just sit down. And right in the middle of the meeting, doesn't matter who they're talking to, what they're doing, I just sit down. I'm like, don't mind me. I'm just going to jump into the meeting and see what the hell's going on. And so I'm capturing just information from every area of my company, putting it in, I'm creating the big picture, I'm seasoning everything together. And then it's Mexico. So 2-hour lunch. You always have 2 hours of lunch. Everybody goes out for 2 hours. I go home, watch some WNBA. I go home and watch some football. Hopefully it's going to start here in a couple months, and live a pretty good life. The biggest change I've done in my life is I used to fly back and forth to Portland. And that sucks because it's a day down and a day back. And I felt like I was losing my life. So now when I want to see people, I fly them to Mexico. So I probably flown 50, 60 different employees in for the week. So they arrive and I got a big house. So 5 or 6 people stay at my house. And so it's breakfast and lunches and going out to dinner till 11 o'clock and showing them around and working together. Ship them back to Portland and fly a new crew in. Always exciting.
And you still find time to post on LinkedIn and record the videos.
That's what I do that first thing in the morning. That's literally what I do first thing in the morning. I get up, I have my coffee, and I take a picture, and I either write, or when Mariana comes in, we walk over, set the MacBook down, shoot a video, send it up, gone.
You mentioned you manufacture your products. Was that always the case, or did you start a few years ago?
We always made them. I designed and made our very first ones in a garage. Yeah. Then we hired people in Portland. We had about 80 people in Portland until COVID came. We moved all of our manufacturing down there. And now we have literally the best state-of-the-art, best manufacturing in North America. It's staggeringly great. As I say, as of this week, I get an update on our employees and everything. And just in Mexico, I have what wasn't one.
For those, brands listening to this that are thinking about probably moving the manufacturing in-house with everything going on in the supply chain and in the world, what would you say that are the main up and down? I won't ask you about the one thing I learned the lesson, but
Yell at you at that.
what would you say like the main ups and downs? Or
You've got to be a jerk like me in order if you're going to do it. And what I mean by that is I tried to find people who could manufacture for me. Okay, I would. And what everyone has is you're either too small or too big. And these manufacturers, you go and you're like, well, I'm not sure if this product's going to work yet, right? So I just want you to make a few of them, but I still need it at a good price. I still need it at a good time. And they have to fit this into their lines, right? They have to like design it, do it, schedule it, make it, logistically ship it. You've got to launch it and sell it. Well, if that product works, how are you going to get more? Call up Philippines and order more of that stuff? Good luck, 4 to 6 months. Are you going to order the right colors? Are you going to do the right SKUs? Is everything going to work out the right way? What we do is I would try to work with maquilas and manufacturers and everybody. They didn't give me the right price, the right quality, the right timing. So I said, if I want to do that, marketing is what draws everything, okay? I'm a marketing guy. Marketing demands the right product at the right time. Algorithms don't fuck around, right? They want more of that product right now, right? So what I found out is, okay, these are very important. I have to do these. And I also have to do these. I have to do this. And I can create new products. We brought out over 1,900 new variants last year. New variants last year through my manufacturing, okay? We're going to bring out over 3,000 this year. Those are mostly for returning customers who want something new. That if I said, just make this, only make 2,000 of these, make 3,000 of these. They're like, yeah, we like to make 100,000 of things. And I'm like, yeah, but my return customers who love my brand, I'm going to sell out of these things in 3 days. It's all profit because I don't have any marketing I have to spend, right? They don't want to do that. They don't want to do it on the timeline, the sampling, the schedule, everything that I want. So now I control that. So I believe I'm the most laid back, fun person you're ever going to meet in your entire life. But obviously, I also want shit to go right, and I want it when I want it so that we win. Because that's the whole game. The whole game is, do you win? And I really like to win. I could have lost the last 17 holes in golf. And if you get at 18 and we stand there and everyone says, hey, I'll bet you blank on this hole, not only do I want to win, I know.
do you know if you win in business? Probably a profound question, but probably not.
You celebrate everything every day, right? Like you celebrate every day. Like we did this, we did this, we did this. I accomplished this. Because if you don't celebrate that, you're going to forget. Okay. The next thing is you keep trajectory. Are all the things heading in the right direction? Everyone's like, we had all these problems. Yeah, you're going to do a $500 million company. You're going to have problems, right? My job is to solve problems, not to make people's life easier. Because by me solving problems means we're going to sell more product. They're going to demand more. We're going to need to do more, right? I don't say, hey, at a certain point, your life's going to get easy. I say, we solve problems. We're going to get better. So you have to keep reminding people of their trajectory. They're mixed up in the day-to-day. So the first thing is, do you celebrate the wins? Are you in the right trajectory? And every year, are you always saying, I say in September, year's over. I've already won. I know what our numbers are going to be. I can already project within $500,000 what we're going to end up with already in August. When we're talking a couple $100 million a year, it's like, that's good enough. How are we going to do even more next year, right? So I'm moving the goalposts. People always say, you move the goalposts. Yep. Celebrate every day, be on the right trajectory every year, and move the goalposts and do it again and again.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I started a tech company in back 10 years ago, probably with a business partner. We had investors, all this stuff, and we were gifted a bottle of champagne with 2 glasses. And then when we closed the business 2 to 3 years later, the champagne was unopened there in the fridge, and we were like, we never stopped, we never celebrated, and the business ended up doing good, but we had a lot of points during the journey. And since then, both of us were like, we should celebrate even the smallest wins, and people see us as crazy people, but I rather look like a crazy person than not celebrating anything in my life. So yeah, I totally see that.
I celebrate all the time. I was standing in Livingston, Montana yesterday uh, on my cell phone next to a car, and a woman comes by and says, "You're that guy from LinkedIn. You're the guy that owns
No,
Portland Love." How the hell do you know me? And she's like, "I follow you. I'm walking down Bozeman, walking down the street. Guys come out of stores and say, 'Oh my God, you're walking past our store.'" That's a win. Why? Because I haven't done shit on LinkedIn until a year and a half ago, and all of a sudden, people are recognizing me around the country when I'm walking out somewhere, right? When I go to an e-commerce, people know who I am. When I call somebody up, when we're hiring new employees, they already know who I am. They've already checked out my LinkedIn.
do you feel it?
They already know who.
Yeah, but how do you feel about that? Because it's a kind of a new thing for you, right? To be like the I don't know if the face of a brand, but to be a public.
Yeah, I'm always the big energy at the party. Yeah, I was class clown, class personality. I was the big, yeah, that's always been me. So none of that shit's new. It's just how they found me and how they know me. A friend of mine wrote a book about how people adapt to a room. When you walk into a room, depending on what that room is like, we change who we are to fit into that room. And I said, "Oh, really? What personality am I?" And she said, "You're chapter 7. You don't change when you walk into a room. You change the room to revolve around you."
Wow.
And I said, "Shit, that's exactly what I do, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You've always done that." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let me be me." So people knowing who I am is a little bit different, but me being me, that shit's been going on since I was.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't wear shirts for podcast interviews, and today I did because of you. I didn't find one as nice as the one that you have, but you changed me, for instance. So I want to match that.
My goodness, I changed the way you go at this.
So yeah,
Wow.
I
Okay.
can totally see that. Yeah, of course I see that energy on LinkedIn. I'm meeting you now, and yeah, it's I can totally see that. I was probably referring to the fact that you are more well known in the DTC space and internationally. You can get that I'm not from the US, right? I'm from Argentina, and I know some people here that knows who you are for what it's worth. I know thousands of miles away, and you're making a huge impact in other
Thank you.
cultures, not only in the US. So that's amazing.
And that's one of the big ones because living in Mexico, I don't take shit about Mexico. I'm just like, I live there for a reason. Why? Because I like it better than living in the US.
Why?
I like the people better. The people are better. They're nicer. Sorry, they're better. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that, right? Would I prefer if everyone spoke English that I talk to?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So I hire those people, right? Because my Spanish sucks. But are the people more kind, more nice, more genuine? Of course they are. And that's what the world's about. It's who you surround yourself with every day, right?
Yeah.
And shit, I love it. And I love Spain and I love Italy and I love Argentina.
Did you come?
And
Did you come here?
I have not yet, but everybody I meet, I know, man, do it up. Everybody I meet is always, and I meet them and I'm like, damn, I like this person. They're like Argentina. I'm like, damn you. Yeah. Do they send all the good ones away or what is this? Or is it just strategically they're
We work with with US companies, and two of them actually came down here. One actually he lives here right now, and he tells me this crazy stuff because of course he gives me an information about Argentina as a foreigner, right? So he sees some things that I don't because I'm used to them. So he's like, the cable guy came to my house to install it, and he invited me to a soccer match with his friends. What the hell? Like I don't know them, and people invite me over to their homes. They kiss me in the cheek to say hi. They hug me, and it's like, what is all this, right? I'm not used to that. So yeah, I know.
No, it's called people. It's called just because you lucked on the land lottery and a lot of things in the U.S. and got some good things going doesn't mean everything you do is the right things. We are people who evolve. It's just like a company. We evolve as people, and hopefully, if you're lucky enough, you're evolving your entire life. You're getting better. You're learning. You're learning more about other people, and your world is getting bigger. That's my thing. My world needs to get bigger and bigger and bigger for the next 40 years. I want a bigger, bolder world. I do not want to make my world smaller. Same thing in my company.
I always say that we all live many chapters. When we are little and then we grow up, we have our parents, we don't, we have our grandparents, we have friends, we live abroad, we move. So yeah, I think that it's life is beautiful and I really enjoy that. So I want to ask you only a few more questions to be respectful with your time.
Sure.
Now, I find like talking about a little bit more about your personality, because I really love your personality, is like, what does the rest of your team look like? Because do they feel, or do you know if they feel the pressure of being like you, or the pressure of you being the extra
No.
more?
Of course, it's a big company now, but I always tell this story. I had some people at a dinner. They had flown in on a private plane to meet me and my company, and they're hanging out. We're at dinner. Got about 16 of my employees together. They're all out at night. They're having fun, and everyone's having the best time. They're smart, charming, and just so great to be around. And the guy says to me, "Do you know how lucky you are to have such amazing employees?" And I said, "Luck? I took 10 fucking years to find these people, right? Like, I personally sat through 2,000 interviews. I showed them around. I spent time with them. I told them who our company was. I created this atmosphere for them to thrive in. I know how good they are because we did that. What do they look like? They're all very, very, very different people. But the number one thing they have in common, two things, three things. Okay, they're good people. You don't work in our company if you're not. Number two, you're smart. Sorry. Yeah, I'm one of those prejudiced people that doesn't like working for people who are dumb. Okay. And number three, they're opinionated. They're not afraid to tell me what they think. Because if I ask somebody and they're always like, well, I don't know, it really depends. Or I'm like, why am I talking to you? If you can't add something to the room, if you cannot come into this room and add something, a spark, an energy, an idea, an opinion, even if your opinion is wrong, if you say it, it will help me in some way see it. But if you're always being like a bad resume and saying, well, I don't know, it really depends on, then you add nothing to my life, right? And if you add nothing to my life, you add nothing to my company, because my company is my life and they're all mixed together. So when I hire you, it's like, welcome to the fucking family. Let's get better. Let's go on this journey together, man. Get on the boat. Let's go.
Now you are, or I believe you define yourself as a marketer, right? So what metrics are you obsessed with? I know, correct me if I'm wrong, the CMO is McCoy. I had the pleasure of chatting briefly with him.
He's brilliant.
So what do you guys measure when it comes to marketing and business growth, but more related to the online part, the DTC maybe?
It's both things. When everyone is saying, like, I'm going to measure this, my ad spend, my this, my AMR, my MER, I mean, it's blah, blah, blah. What is all the things? I view all the things that go into this pie from what does Shopify fees do they take out, right? What is our shipping and logistics? What is our cost of goods? What is our return rate? What is our new customer acquisition? What is our return customer rate, which is huge. We are always measuring that. What is our gross revenue? What is our net revenue? What is our EBITDA? What is our net profit? All of that is together, but you have to see it as kind of one of those timelines that each one has a different area or a thing. And I'm like, okay, how do we fix Shopify fees? How do we fix returns? What is our return rate? 4.2%. Okay. What if it was under 4? What if it was 3.9? Why are they doing that? Let's drill down and focus on that. Every number is important because every dollar at the end of the year that you saved or you made extra is still a dollar you got. And so that's the win at the end. I am not a money-driven person, but money is how you measure success in business. So to win, you better damn well stay in business and have money in the bank account, right? You better always be getting more profit, right? We plan to do over 30 million EBITDA this year, okay? That's not bad. But my mind is already, how are we going to get to 44 the next year, right? How do we have 1 year where we make profit $44 million? How? You take it every little thing and you measure and you break it down. And if you ever try to look at one number, it's misguided. There's something wrong. You have to do it all. It's holistically. It's like life. It all works together. It's all tugging. And if you put too much on one and don't take care of the other one, it's always going to leave you a little off balance, or the feeling that you're doing everything, but you're not. You're leaving areas that are not getting fixed. It's holistic. You got to do it all at the same time.
There's no one thing. Well, again,
Yeah.
going back to my first question, there are many things. However, what I noticed, and I wanted to know your thoughts on this because, of course, you're super qualified to answer this, and I'm super curious about your answer. Decreasing costs is really important, right? Especially in today's era.
Sure.
However, there's a limit to how much you can do that. However, there's no limit or not, that's of a low limit to increase value, increase the customer lifetime value, focusing on, increasing the average order value, increasing lifetime value, like what many companies call retention, and retention, I think, has been neglected.
Retention's critical. Yeah.
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 Why do you think that has been neglected for so many years, and why?
Because especially if you're D2C, internet seems like it's always going up and it's always progressing. But what we know that that's not true in the last 2 years. To borrow money now is more expensive. To get a new customer is more expensive and more unpredictable. What those people are going to buy, your average order value in most companies is not going up. People want a deal. So now they're actually spending less, but they're costing more, and it's more expensive to do that. So you better be nudging the margins on everything. Right? My thing is same quality or better with better cost of goods. We need to do that. That is being lean in everything we make, and make sure every bag we make, every leather bag, we're going to make millions of bags this year. Okay. We're going to produce and sell millions of bags. That's over 2 million. Okay. Every wrong bag we make doesn't count as zero. It hurts us, right? It used leather that could have been made into another SKU, into something else, and sold on to get profitable. Now we spent all that time. We borrowed money maybe to do that. We put it in a logistical system. It's now sitting on a pallet. If it's on a pallet and just that's the only box on that pallet, I'm paying $15.90 for that pallet to hold one box on a bag I never should have freaking made. So the efficiency is nonstop that you have to get better for, because things are always sliding against you. They're always getting a little harder, but you're always getting smarter. We've now added a lot of automated machines. And hopefully to get to the point where we have one automated machine on every line of production means the hardest, trickiest part of making a bag is being done by an automated machine, where you put everything in and it stitches that perfectly. Then you take it out and hand it to a person who assembles the rest of that, right? That saves, you get cost of goods down. The longer you run that production line, the better they get. So all of a sudden they're making 30% more. All of that cost that you spend is now you've taken 30% off the labor cost and the manufacturing cost of that bag, right? As you get bigger, you're negotiating better with tanneries. So they're providing the right leather at the right time. You're not overproducing or underproducing. You're not making the wrong things. That's making you more efficient. All of these efficiencies add up because you're always getting leaned on. Everyone's always saying, oh, yeah, well, it's harder now. And all these things are against me and everything's like, yeah, that's why on the other side, you need to be kicking that freaking door down and beating that one. You need to be winning at that game, because of course things are going to get harder. Competition, growth, inflation, the world, idiot who's the president of the United States. All of that shit's going to be against you, right? So what are you doing every day so that you're at least even? And everybody else kind of drifts away and they fall away and they're like, what one thing didn't I do? You didn't get better every day, dude. Come on, man. That's what it all boils down to.
So we need to be more efficient.
Everything.
So probably the last question I got for you, I have 1,000 more listed, but it's the one that I chose for the end. It's a different question, probably. It's not related to ecom, but it's related to agencies, because it's a tough time for brands. It's a tough time for agencies, and everything has evolved. Technically speaking, AI, the platforms are simplified, more. So how do you think an agency, marketing agency, can stand out and add value to brands these days? As we said before, what got us here won't get us there. And the days of the Meta or paid ads and email marketing agencies to sell that as a core offer directly, I don't know what you think, but probably are gone, and they need to be looking at something else.
For our ecom team has 28 people on our team. So we're pretty big ourselves just for our own ecom. And we use agencies for certain things. If they're really good at that aspect and they can do it better, or right now for us, with some are really amazing at mapping, some are really great at A/B testing. Could we set up a system and do that? Of course. Are they doing it at a good, effective thing that's good enough just to have it done? Yes. Now we've tried 5 of them and only one of them is good enough and we stuck with the others suck, right? So first of all, do what you say you're going to do. That's your biggie, right? It's not, can I sell new clients and get that new income coming in? Can I actually provide something for that client and make them happy over time? That's the retention we talk about. Like you do on a website, it's retention in an agency too. Have you, the owner of that agency has this, and now they're giving that to people. Are those people competent to help those people out? Are they actually giving the value to the people and making them more successful? Are they able to conceptualize big advanced thought? If they're not, they might not be adding that value. You just got to be like everybody else. I like agencies. I like owners of agencies. I don't want to work with most of them.
Right. Sadly, the word agency has become a bad word. Many brands who's like they go like, I hate agencies. I don't want to work with agencies because, as you said, they don't live up to their promise.
And I would say, I'm going to change this around. It's not the agency's fault. Most people hand a broken business to someone and say, here, I'm going to give you Meta money to spend, provide me great returns, when their entire system, from their cost of goods to their logistics, to their customer service, to their retention, to their bundles, all the other things aren't there. They're just like, if you give me a magic return on my investment, I'm on my ad spend, I'm going to be great. Yeah, but you got broke shit. You're borrowing expensive money from Shopify to pay overpriced things to get things there late, and you expect me, the marketer, to solve all your stuff? Your business is the problem. So most times with an agency, it's the business's fault, and the agency just can't fix all the shit that the business has going wrong. That's the truth. I've been meeting with hundreds of different businesses because I now have a company that helps become owners of smaller companies and help them scale. And when I talk to most of them, they're like, yeah, my agency sucks. And I'm like, no, your business sucks. You're blaming the agency because it makes you feel better. Like if you had done your work and gotten better, they would have more to work with and you would be more successful and you wouldn't be $500,000 in debt. That's the truth. The agency is not the problem.
Finally, somebody who says that. I mean, of course, there are good agencies, bad agencies, of course, but not a lot of people say the same thing about brands and the operator. So I totally get, and probably the last one, I know I said it was the last one, but then you said this, and I have one question on this that you're building. Is this with McCoy as well?
Me and McCoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call him Maverick. Maverick is one of the most brilliant online marketers in the world today. And he's also young and energetic, and he's a fireball. And he's like, Curtis, I work for you. I want to be my own man. And I'm like, hey, what we can provide is a holistic view, a vision, and the ability of pattern recognition and marketing to take businesses to that next thing. But we've also got this idea. We're not going to do the hard shit. I can choose from 1,000 different businesses who want to work with us. We're going to choose the ones that, again, just like my employees, do we like them? Are they smart? Will they get better? Are they somebody I want to call up when things are good and bad and help them overcome the hurdles that they're going to?
And what does the deal look like? Do you buy a portion of their company and you help them grow, or is it a service?
Some we buy, some they say, hey, take part of my company. If you can take me from 1 million to 10 million, it's worth handing you a percentage of my company to get me there, right?
And how do you?
And I'm not interested. To me, I'm not interested. Yes, I think it's fun. If I like them, I'd like to get them to 10 million. What I really want is the ones who we can take to 20 and 30 and to 50. That's the real
You
goal.
are the new Alex Hermosi then.
Yeah, but I'm more charming than Alex, man. The guy he's got shit in his closet. He's all messed up about dad. Dad came at me, man. I'm still broken because of my dad. Hey, my dad was a great guy. I didn't have all that shit, Alex, man. I'm pretty happy.
You need the thing in the nose and the mustache, and yeah.
Man, I got a big nose, but as healthy as you can get.
Curtis, it was great meeting you. It was a dream interview, not because of the technical issues, but it was a great, picking your brain and talking to someone so that I consider so successful.
Hey, Brian, it was most importantly, it was just nice to meet you. It was really good to have a conversation. In 7 minutes, I get to talk to bankers, and that's always just like no fun whatsoever. Every single one of them, I'm not stereotyping them, they are just boring as shit. So wish me luck. I need some caffeine before I get on. Okay, my friend?
Okay. It was great. Thank you.
This episode was brought to you by BSR Digital. We help DTC brands grow through paid ads and email marketing campaigns. If you'd like us to help your business grow, head on over to bsrdigital.com and schedule a call with us.